Mary Magdalene's most well-known symbols are her jar and the colours green and red. Archangel Gabriel is wearing green and red. In heraldry tradition, this means that Mary Magdalene and Archangel Gabriel are related. Around Angel Gabriel's right arm is a ribbon tied in a half bow with tendrils, a Greek royal symbol. The same kind of half bow knot is sometimes interpreted as a marriage knot. Da Vinci depicts Mary the Virgin wearing pink, which is a paler shade of red. Mary the Virgin's yellow mixed with her blue creates green. Does this mean Angel Gabriel and the Virgin Mary are second cousins? The legends of the origin of Mary Magdalene's red is when she performs a magic trick in Rome. According to legend, Mary Magdalene was an educated, wealthy woman, important and well-connected enough to get an audience with Emperor Tiberius. After Christ's resurrection, Mary Magdalene goes to Rome. In the court of Emperor Tiberius, she denounces Pilate for how he conducted himself at Christ's trial. Mary Magdalene explains to Tiberius about Christ and his resurrection from the dead. To explain, she holds up an egg to the royal court and proclaims, "Christ is risen." Emperor Tiberius lets Mary Magdalene know his bemusement, saying to Mary Magdalene, "There's as much chance of a man returning to life from the dead as the egg in your hand turning red." On cue, the egg in Mary Magdalene's hand turns red in that very moment. Some centuries after that, Mary Magdalene became associated with prostitutes. Since then, the colour red is associated with women of loose morals. If we look at the hem of Mary the Virgin's gown, we see it is dirty and red. If we look into the room of the house behind the Virgin Mary, we see a bed draped with a red cover. In Leonardo's painting, Mary the Virgin sits at a desk reading a Bible with a red cover. A translucent veil is draped around the Bible and the desk. 2,000 years ago, Jewish women were not educated and not allowed to read or write. It is doubtful that Mary the Virgin was even able to read. It is doubtful that any women received an education in Hebrew communities during that era. There are no known texts in existence attributed to Jesus' mother, Mary the Virgin. None. Also, nobody wrote about nobodies or prostitutes back then. Paper was far too expensive for most people until years after the printing of the King James Bible. They only wrote about royals and gods and goddesses, with the odd royal love poem in between. The literacy rate in Israel at the time of Jesus is estimated at less than 15%. According to ancient Hebrew tradition, we can assume the Hebrew literate of this time were males. This leaves Jewish women out of the picture and off the record altogether. Claims of Mary the Virgin being a well-educated woman do not sync with the Hebrew cultural norms of that era. Yet there is a tradition that Mary Magdalene was a well-educated woman. There is also an apocryphal gospel associated to Mary Magdalene, authored by Mary Magdalene herself. The Gospel of Mary is a non-canonical text, discovered in 1896 in a 5th century papyrus codex, hand-copied from an older codex. In the Gospel of Mary, Peter is opposed to Mary preaching because she is a woman. Peter plays the same role in the Pistis of Sophia, where Mary is identified as Mary Magdalene. The Gospel of Mary is written in Sahidic Coptic, which is an Egyptian language. 2 other fragments of the Gospel of Mary were discovered after that. but both were written in Greek.